Now?
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. All right, and so here we are. It is Tuesday, and it is time for the chat of the day.
Clay spots.
And, what?
Clay spots.
Clay spot. I was wondering what we were doing. Anyway, first of all, I want to mention that Matter of Clay is still on, and is turning into an extraordinarily successful show. With no thanks at all to people coming in. I think that we've had possibly 3 or 4 people in.
We haven't even sent an invitation out for it.
That's right, but it's been very successful. And we have started shipping. And so we've shipped, yesterday we shipped to BC, to Alberta, to Quebec, to New Brunswick, to Nova Scotia, to Maryland. And so half the show's already been shipped, but there are still pieces. And I want to thank everybody for following Clay Spots. I want to also thank them for shopping local, shopping Canadian, and shopping from us. And just remember that this box here, even though it says that is not, we don't buy back. Anyway, but the reason, today we're going to talk about Goyer Bonneau. Goyer Bonneau sont les meilleurs artistes du Canada. Il y a un mari et une femme, and that's all I'm going into because I'm going to get too confused. Anyway, the reason for all these boxes here is that this is their 50th anniversary. They have been creating and making since 1970, and actually this piece here, this wonderful hand-thrown vase, is from Denise Goyer's very, very first exhibition in 1970, and there's actually a photo. And so Denise, if you're watching this, I would like a copy of that photo. And this vase is in the background and is pretty cool. And down here you'll notice the signature, Goyer, which is stamped. So this is before her and Alain tied the knot. And also what was interesting when it comes to the marks of Denise and Alain is that because they want to always emphasize the whole concept of touched by the maker, on pieces that were hand thrown, they will have a stamp that is a stamp. But on pieces that are slip cast, they will somewhere.
Actually, this.
Oh, right there.
Saucier has one.
Right there is their signature. So they sign, and again, this is the whole thing to emphasize that it's made by the maker. The other thing to remember is that whereas slip cast is how your Wedgwood, your Royal Doulton, your Minton, your Sovereign, whatever dinnerware you have has been, for the main part, slip cast, or it's been done in the plates, possibly done in a jig. Don't confuse slip cast with mass production, because the reality is it's not like that at all. Slip cast is a technique that enables you to create and do multiples of something that are consistent. So when Denise and Alain decided that they were going to do slip cast work, it was so that they could do more complex forms. For example, like this, which is actually a very, very comfortable mug, but we also sell an awful lot of these as a little pitcher, a pichet, and there's also a pichet right here. This pichet, which is was designed, and then they kept on trying to take it out of production, and we kept on nagging at them, and then when they finally decided they weren't going to listen to us anymore, they did the final 12, and that final 12 I think we've sold all.
It's all sold?
They're all gone. So they're all c'est tout fini. And oh, that's funny. So there we are there. Now, one of the things is often when they do something that this is, by the way, this is Bonnie from Grooves. Grooves is if you're looking for vinyl or you're looking for CDs and you also want to support local. Grooves has their own Instagram page. And hi there, Bonnie.
Hi, I have some quotes for you guys actually for some orders. So whenever you're ready. Yeah.
We won't be ready. You know this is live.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, come
so
on
why
by.
don't you go back and we'll be down there
Can
later. Okay, so she has just interrupted our live broadcast, but
I'll come down after.
She is now sheepishly leaving.
Back to grooves.
Back to grooves. Okay.
Speaking of grooves,
Speaking of grooves, oh yeah, speaking of grooves, you'll see here, Goyer Bonneau often, or rather back in the 70s, incorporated grooves into their work. And you can see here. Now, we've got to do a little bit of a progression
okay,
there.
so this is 1970.
This is 1970. Okay, so Denise's father was a tea drinker. They were coffee drinkers, but he wanted a teapot. So they decided that they were going to do a teapot for him. And in experimenting with the form, these little vases, of which this is the earliest one and thrown, and this one actually just arrived today from New York. Brian is an avid collector. So these three little vases, so this was the exploration of the form. And all three of these are hand thrown, which means that all three of these will have the stamp. Now here you see the stamp says Goyer Bonneau. This is an indication that by this time they were married. Okay, so no longer living in sin.
That's 1976.
1976. So these are those. So that form, and you see again the little grooves, that form evolved into the teapot. Now when it comes to the teapot here, we have one that is hand thrown. Up here, this one is slip cast. And so this was the evolution of the design. And then when they were doing an exhibition it was in New York.
It was the New York Gift Show in 1985.
Yeah, the New York Gift Show in 1985, they brought this, and this was absolutely incredible. And the number of orders they got made it totally impossible for them to have, they'd still be making the damn things. So anyway, so what they did then is there is a very well-known, or was at the time, a very well-known ceramic.
It's Quebec's Blue Mountain pottery.
Oh, it's better than Blue Mountain.
But that's the
yeah,
same.
so Ceramic de Beauce in Beauce, Quebec. And so here you have the evolution. So that this was the design. And Alain being very clever, because Beauce wanted to do it on a royalty thing, but he said, no. He says, you just pay me outright and you can make whatever. Very, very clever Frenchman, that Alain. So there were different colors. There was, the lids came in pink, and we had a whole teapot in pink. But so this was the evolution of that. So you can see there's more detail there, and then underneath, the Ceramic de Beauce one had a little sticker, and it's been peeled off. Okay, so there we go. So there is the evolution of that. Now, often things evolve. In 2006, when they were here for the Matter of Clay exhibition, which was Matter of Clay 2, they were driving back to Quebec. And Denise, they're always looking for ideas and concepts for new pieces. So here you will see, after reflection and deduction, this here design, which became that, was inspired during their trip to London, driving back, and this was based on the farm silos. Now, what becomes really interesting then is that this, which is called Dans le Jardin, so here you've got a place that you can put flowers. This, by the way, is the prototype. And here is the place where you can put yourself, or you can put flowers, but on the bottom here, it says, Pour Stephen and Jonathan, November 4th, 2006. So the prototype, which was exhibited at the Métier d'Art in Quebec City, was also our wedding gift. And I think we are possibly one of the few Canadians to have received a funeral urn for their wedding gift. But nevertheless, it's really well appreciated, and Brian has got his hands on that because he's going to take care of both Stephen and I. I guess whoever goes first gets the gold one. In 2007, when we had their exhibition and retrospective in 2007, they made 3 gold versions, of which I bought one. A friend of mine friends of mine bought the other 2, and Brian missed out, so he's waiting for that.
Should I make you a cup of tea?
Yeah, right. So anyway, so that is the evolution of that, which was exhibit. And by the way, we still have some copies of this. This was the catalog that was done for the exhibition of the Materia.
It's a beautiful catalog.
It's gorgeous. There were only 1,000 copies printed. I think we've sold half of them, and it's a really good. It's both in French and in English. And the translation is excellent, except for one little detail where it looks like they still have their kids running around. Okay, this, of course, is what we did for the exhibition in 2000. We did have an exhibition in 2005. We must have.
No, that's when they debuted their new photograph that they hadn't done since the early 90s.
Yeah. So notice here they were back to back, and here they're looking at one another. But here is this. Which is pretty cool. And there's also the saucer, and the saucer, the little dinghy, because Denise also did a rowboat, and the rowboat is because she takes the grandkids out to teach them to row, but they're only allowed in the dinghy. Anyway, so then so everything has, Brian wants me to talk about this. These were done wasn't this done for their exhibition in Philadelphia?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, that was done. That's really early.
This is really early, and this is going to hang over Brian's bar. This was a gift from Alain and Denise.
No. That came from, what was her name? Monique Ferrand. That was from her collection.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you found this? This wasn't...
Yeah, I found it, yeah.
Oh, okay. And now what's cool about this, like the grooves, they also did a set while Denise was pregnant, because everything relates to family with them. So as sophisticated and modern as the designs are, the inspiration for the various designs is family. So here is one of, this was often sold in a set, and there were two of these, and then there was a much bigger one for...
She was pregnant with Marjolaine.
With Marjolaine?
Marjolaine.
Oh, okay, that's their daughter. So that's kind of cool, a little bit of effect. So the big one would have been there, but without that. And so there we go there. So then again, in keeping in the concept of the different things that they used to do, this is in the Campbell Soup had a exhibition of terrines, and when it came up to Canada, there was a number of Canadian artists that were asked to submit, and they. Brian's having a little panic attack there. So this was designed for the Campbell Soup exhibition in 1979.
Soup, beautiful soup.
Soup, beautiful soup. Yeah, which I've got a catalog somewhere. So anyway, and then they did the little saucier. When they did the very first ones, the handle was something like this. But then when they ended up, they found, I think they found these handles in Germany.
I think so.
Yeah, so they must have got 96, because when we continued to bug them, and then in 2010, for our 10th anniversary, they did 39 in black and one in green. So the name of this is pea soup, and that's because the English call the French pea soupers, and the French call the English tête carré, blockheads anyway. And so it's pretty cool. Now what's really neat is the design here, which I always ask people coming in, how did they do the design? Because if you notice, it lines up beautifully. And while you're thinking about how this is done, see, it's really, really quite nice. And notice now, so I always ask, how do you think this was done? This really gives you an indication of both the creativity that they have, as well as the problem solving. So to get those dots, and I'm going to take you out of your misery, they took a chamois, and a chamois like you wash your car, and they punched it full of holes. And then, because then when the chamois is wet, they would be able to spread it over the pot with minimal distortion, because some people said bubble wrap, some people said plastic, some people said, everybody got it wrong. But anyway, so by using a chamois, they're able to line everything up, and then you can see how the dots overlap on the ridging. So it's really, really...
And that chamois will be on exhibit next month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the chamois is moving to the Canadian Clay and Glass Museum, And actually, Brian, who is the man behind the camera, who continually interrupts, but don't you?
I do.
Well, only because you know you're always right, or
Yeah.
think you are. So anyway, he has the largest collection of Goyer Bonneau in Canada, and went with the exhibition for the 50th anniversary of Goyer Bonneau, that is opening September 20th?
September 20th.
September 20th at the Canadian Clay and Glass, curated by Denis Longchamp
And Peter Flannery.
and Peter Flannery. Yeah, so those are the people who are curating the exhibition. So they have been able to choose from Brian's enormous collection, and these pieces are being picked up tomorrow and heading out to the Canadian Clay and Glass, which kind of gave us the idea to have this exhibition now. Did I not talk about the handles yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so the mug that I'm drinking from,
Cup with handle.
and the with the handle, which is very, very comfortable, even and no matter how you hold the darn thing. But there's always prototypes.
And there's no Baileys in that.
No. So there's always prototypes. So here is the one that they finally decided on, which is very comfortable. This is one of the ones where they were being clever, which is not so comfortable. Actually, it's kind of interesting. And they probably did that, to echo that.
Well, that's the same neck that's on the Encore, the
Oh,
sake
the little
set.
sake set,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, okay. So that's very good. Yeah, I should know
It's
that.
around the same era.
Yeah, around the same era. And then here you've got, that's just too tiny. But, so there you have that. And so again, you've got this groove thing. This was done in 1978.
8. That's
This is absolutely
the
stunning.
prototype for the
So this
Century.
is like an A cup, and this, you've got this lovely copper red glaze, which I'm probably going to get a phone call from Alain saying no, it's not a copper red glaze, but and this is done in like a stoneware. Actually, this is done in the same clay as this vase and this, which have got a clear overcoat on them. And do you have anything else you want to say, Brian?
September 20th, the Canadian Clay and Glass.
The Canadian Clay and Glass. We're still waiting to see if, it'll certainly be virtual. And also, again, I really, really want to thank everybody who has been supporting the gallery virtually. And because without you, we would not survive. Similarly, Grooves down the road, great record store. Attic Books, there's so many local businesses that would really benefit from you finding their website, ordering from them, avoiding Amazon and all that stuff.
All in downtown London.
And of course, follow Downtown London, because Downtown London, but I mean, follow wherever you're from. Because I looked at my feed this morning, because on Ceramic London, I do these little mini vase moments, and there were people from Singapore, from Australia, from all over the place. So our videos are going further and further afield, and we really want to thank everyone. And I have nothing else to say, which is really quite remarkable. And do you have anything else to say, Brian? You want another plug for Goyer Bonneau on the 20th? No? OK, so le 21 de septembre, il y a une exposition sur le musée canadien. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Thanks, bye.